right, let's get it started. How is it going? Enjoying Barcelona? Good? Great. How about you?
I'm enjoying myself.
Great. So how many of you actually have seen those cars lined next to the venue? All of you? Yes. How many of you have a car? So we as Pivotal, we have quite a lot of experience when it comes to connected cars technology, which is on the edge right now, and we'd like to share about that, right?
Absolutely.
So, hence this topic, connect your car with Spring tools. Since we have only like 50 minutes,
Yes.
we're gonna spend like 2 of them on introducing ourselves. My name is Jakub Pilimon. I work as Spring Developer Advocate, and these are my main areas of interest. Domain-driven design, test-driven development, architecture. I have a blog and Twitter account, which is probably the best way to reach me. And also have a pet project, which is TDD by example. If you are interested in that, please feel free to ping us at GitHub, and that's it about me.
So my name is Marcin Grzejszczak. Most likely you have no idea that I should be here at the talk because I'm not even there at the label of this presentation. So maybe I should just go.
Yeah, get off my stage.
Yeah. So I work in the Spring Cloud team as a developer, and I'm leading the projects called Spring Cloud Sleuth and Spring Cloud Contract. Thank you for clicking the button, very good. And also, the areas of my expertise are CI/CD topics. And my Twitter handle is @Grzejszczak, which I know is impossible for you to type, so just go to my blog, toomuchcoding.com, and you can find my Twitter handle over there. So with Jakub, we have given a presentation testing your messaging application. Who has seen it?
I have.
Nobody. That was exactly what we expected. So in that presentation, we had a little role play that I was an ivory tower architect. And I was in a company that had a very small budget to spend. This is why we hired Jakub as a consultant. And we were dealing with messaging, and it resulted in me being fired in general. But now I found another job.
And it wasn't my fault, right?
Of course. I mean, all the code you wrote compiled but didn't work, but yeah. So now I'm in a new company. They don't know about my lack of knowledge of anything. And the budget is even lower, so again, Jakub is the only person we
That's
can
why I'm here.
hire. So Jakub, thank you for being in this company as a consultant. I spent like 5 minutes on reading what we do exactly in this company. Maybe I'll share it with you.
All right. When did you join this company, and what do you do?
10 minutes ago. So
All
it's
right.
my first day in general. So what do I do here? Nothing special really, which is a normal thing.
And what does the company do?
So the company deals with cars.
All right.
So we write software that sends out messages, some metrics from the car to our apps, and just does some analysis and the other way around. So I read the internal wiki, and we have something like MQTT. Are you familiar with this? It's a
Yeah, from what I've heard, MQTT is a machine-to-machine protocol, right?
I see that you're an amateur. It's an M2M protocol. This is how we enterprise architects call it, M2M. Right?
All right, so it's M2M protocol, aka IoT protocol.
Now you can be an enterprise architect as well.
It's a lightweight protocol to machine machines, right?
Yeah, it's a lightweight protocol that allows us to do pub/sub. And since we're dealing with cars, the code footprint has to be low in order to
Makes sense.
to use it. And especially thing related to bandwidth is important because if you're driving a car, the networking changed to 3G, for example. So in order to communicate, we need to have low bandwidth usage and also low power usage, right? So these are the important things related to MQTT. I haven't had more time to actually read anything more about this.
All right, so quick question. What technologies do you use?
Oh, so on the backend side, we have Spring Boot applications. And you know what? I'm an enterprise architect. So whatever is related to enterprise is my thing.
I know enterprise integration patterns, for instance.
Yeah, this is the only book I've read in my life. Actually, only the introduction. Anyways, what I would like to achieve is implement maybe one of the patterns in order to, pull information from some sort of an MQTT broker or something.
So we need an MQTT broker running on this machine right now.
Yeah, I remember that in the last time we met, you had a Rabbit MQ broker running on your machine.
Oh yeah.
Can we leverage it somehow?
It's still running, by the way.
Oh, it's
right now.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we leverage it somehow to make it work with MQTT?
So you want MQTT on top of RabbitMQ, right?
I don't know what I want. I want to reuse what you have running there.
It's possible. I'm happy to report that Mqtt it's supported by RabbitMQ
How's it
via
possible?
plugin. That's
so
it.
you can extend, let's say, Rabbit by usage of plugins. Oh,
Yes,
great.
that's
So-
correct.
So you have it running, so we can leverage Rabbit. Now, how can we implement an enterprise integration pattern with Spring?
And with Spring. So you use Spring Boot, right?
Yes.
Right now. So I'm happy to report that in Spring ecosystem, we have this project which is called Spring Integration. Does it
I
ring
heard
a bell?
about it. Yeah, I guess it's used for integration.
It's used for integration. I would say that it gives you a Spring programming model to implement well-known enterprise integration patterns, right? Via declarative adapters. So we can
Okay.
adapt the channels from Mqtt Broker. That's what we can do with Spring
Okay.
Integration and Spring Boot.
Since I don't know how to code really, can you code something?
All right.
Do
So
your
this is,
magic?
of course, we can try. So this is a simple Spring Boot application, right? There is Spring integration on the class path.
Okay.
So what's the first thing we need to do? What do you think?
Annotate something.
Yes, of course. Let's start with an annotation. Let's define
Okay.
a bin,
Good.
which is responsible for actually giving me the connection factory to the actual broker.
Okay.
So we use Mqtt Paho client factory, which is basically third-party implementation of Mqtt client.
So with
Via
this,
Eclipse.
we're able to connect to the broker.
Yes, as you can see, you have to pass something, like you have to pass the URL to the actual server, which is running on my local host, port 1883. Then you have to pass some username, which is predefined, the password, etc., etc. So that's the connection factory, right? The client factory to the actual broker. What else? Any ideas?
Okay, so we managed to connect. Now we have to define something to actually start getting the messages.
So
right?
we have to define the declarative adapter to the actual channel. So Mqtt works as a PubSub. There are some topics. So you have to adapt the topic to actually get some message produced to your application, right?
Okay.
Let's do it like this. MPS. So we can use Mqtt Paho message event adapter channel, and you have to pass the consumption ID. Let's say it's just consumer ID. Why not? What else? You need to pass the actual client factory, which
Okay.
was defined previously, right? Like this. And what else? We need to pass the actual topic. What's the name of the topic?
Maybe something related to my car.
Cars or /cars/Marcin, right?
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
What else? We need to actually define the flow from this message channel and somehow handle it, right?
Also, we just created a bean that describes an option to fetch some data, but now we have to describe how it happens, really, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have to create the inbound Mqtt integration flow,
Okay.
right?
Let's do it.
That will be adapted via this MPS message producer support. Does it make sense so far?
Sure.
All right, so let's do that. It's gonna be, I guess, Mqtt inbound, right? And we have to return, there's a Fluent API, integration flows dot from MPS. We need to handle it somehow, or maybe do you want to transform it?
Maybe let's get the payload.
So we got plus payload, right? And how do you want to handle that?
Well, let's use the logging framework we have.
What's your logging framework?
System out println.
All right,
Okay. Good.
get, right?
Okay.
I think that's enough. We have the integration flow, we have the message producer support, we have the actual connection factory to the broker. The broker is running. Let's start this application.
Wait. So now, so we have an app that will listen to the messages coming from the broker. How will we send a message to the broker? Like, how will we simulate that the car sends a message?
So we can do it in various ways. For instance, via CLI, there is a tool called Mqtt Pub
Okay.
to actually talk to Mqtt Broker and listen to as well.
Okay.
Let's reuse this. So we're gonna pass, let's clear it. Mosquito publish. The name of the broker or the host of the broker is by default localhost.
Okay.
So I don't need to reconfigure that. Same applies to the port, but we need to pass the username, which was, I guess, user, right? The password and the actual message, which is what do you want to send?
Hello.
Hello. Why not? And the topic, which is in this case Marcin or cars/Marcin, something like that.
Yeah,
Is it correct?
I guess so. We'll see.
So if I type this,
We'll send a couple of messages, maybe.
oh, why not?
It's for free.
It's for free. As you can see, you got the
Oh.
message. Do you want to try a different topic, maybe?
Yeah, let's try it for
Let's send it from my car. Why not? You don't see anything else,
Nothing
right?
happens. Hopefully you can see it at the bottom.
So it works.
Awesome. So We've managed to implement an enterprise integration pattern to actually get a message and print it out, which is great.
With Spring integration,
But
right?
you know, in the last job, you were paid by the lines of code you have written.
You were paid.
Yeah, I was paid. Yeah, that's right. The thing is, in this job, it's not the case, right? So you wrote, let's say, 3 beans. It's a couple of lines. Now we get a bonus if we get to production faster. That's what the owners told me.
Makes sense.
Can we use some sort of a Spring integrations steroids thing, framework?
So you want something which doesn't require you to write like 3 beans and actually stream information from Rabbit.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Spring Cloud Stream, maybe?
I think there was a presentation here about it.
Were you here?
No, I couldn't. You know, I was reading the README on the wiki about MQTT.
Okay, so I will try to briefly describe what Spring Cloud Stream is, okay?
Okay.
So in a nutshell, it works like this. You have an application core which is middleware agnostic. So in the application core, you talk about your business logic, and then at some point, you are going to stream information from input channel or just send something to the output channel. And that's it when it comes to the application core. As you can say, it's middleware agnostic.
So if I'm to explain this to another enterprise architect, I'd say that there is some code written, and if I want to change one broker to another, I change the dependency pretty much, or
Yes.
configuration.
Yes.
No code change.
Yes,
Sounds good.
because of the binder interface. Because if you use Spring Boot via auto configuration, it's going to see that you actually want to connect to Rabbit or to Kafka,
Okay.
depending on what's on your class path.
Okay.
You want to see a sample.
Let's do it.
And we are going to connect to Rabbit, right?
Yes.
So let's try it. So there is a second sample, which is called Spring Cloud Stream Application. Is the font big enough? Great. So do you want to see the POM maybe first?
Yeah,
time?
let's do it. Oh, you have it even highlighted already.
Always. Oh, it's not like,
Whether you go to the companies and you have samples already prepared of what
your
they will be
problems are
doing?
not unique, I would say. Like
But
every
I am
component.
unique, or
Let's
No.
leave it like this.
Okay.
Okay. So you have the binder to Rabbit.
Okay.
You have the dependency to Spring Cloud Stream. So the only logical conclusion from this that you can draw is that you actually want to bind your application core to RabbitMQ. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is it magic?
I'd say it's engineering, man.
Okay. So thanks to this kind of engineering, you can actually type things like that. So you need to define the number of channels that you are going to talk to. In this case, it's going to be how many channels?
So we have an application that listens to a topic, so it's one channel, right?
Input or output?
So it's an input channel.
All right, so you have to enable bind to the definition of channels. So the situation in which you actually talk to one input channel or one output channel, it's kind of common. So there are predefined interfaces. One of them is called sync,
Okay.
right? And if you do like that, you can take a look inside of the sync class, and it actually has one input channel called input,
Okay.
right? And what do you want to do if there's something incoming from this channel?
Log it out.
Of course, I'm gonna name it handle string, right? Message with system.out.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Why not?
Is there anything else?
Yeah, because you have to
No,
actually.
another logging framework.
I don't know. So you have to actually teach your Spring Boot application and Spring Cloud Stream that this is the handler
Oh.
you want to invoke each time there is some incoming message.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
How to do that is as follows: add stream listener to sync.input.
Oh, because this is the name of the
Yeah.
channel. Okay.
There's something more I want you to see.
Okay.
So there is some small configuration in YAML or properties. Do you want to see that?
Oh, I love YAML. Let's do it.
So as you can see,
We use a lot of Kubernetes. This is why
Great.
we have a lot of YAML.
so you're familiar with YAML. So there is a destination to which you bind the actual input channel, right?
Okay.
Destination is imqp.topic, dot topic, which is the default topic used by RabbitMQ when it's the case with MQTT.
Okay, with
Right?
the plugin, right? Okay.
Exactly. And you have to pass the actual binding routing key to be interested only in the information coming from your specific topic,
Okay, I
which
see.
was cars something Marcin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So to do that, you need to pass binding routing key. If there is some typo, please tell me, okay? And the topic was cars,
Cars.
Marcin, right?
Why the dots?
Because RabbitMQ works like this with MQTT, that it translates slashes to
Oh,
dots.
okay.
That's it. So the binding routing key to the consumer, it's going to be /cars/Marcin. This is the
Okay.
topic you're going to listen from, right?
Yes.
So let's start this application. if we start this application and I do Mqtt publish, we should see something logged out, right?
Absolutely, yes.
These are the previous messages, as you can
Okay.
see. They are waiting there. So if I just repeat this exercise, let's pass something different, maybe hello, hello, why not?
That's extremely intelligent, yes.
Yeah. Couple of them. As you can see, they arrived. So it works
Great, awesome.
without any additional beans, right? So
Okay.
thanks to Spring Cloud Stream, you don't have to pass like 3 beans, which was the case with Spring Integration. Actually, Spring Cloud Stream uses Spring Integration underneath.
Oh, I see. Okay, this is great. I really like it a lot. But I would like you to see our architecture in a different way, because we have those cars, right? And those cars emit different types of metrics. You know, some of them are periodic, like temperature, speed,
Like
right?
every 5 seconds or something like this.
Every now and then, right? And you know, if we have information about current temperature, if we lose it and we get it in 10 seconds, that's not a problem. Right? It's no big deal.
Makes sense.
So this is this periodic type of metrics, and we have another type of metrics which are, let's say, events. So to say, the car is braking, the car has stopped, the car has started, right? And those are extremely important. So there will be 2 questions. Let's start with the first one. Can we leverage the protocol maybe to make some messages more important than others?
Yes, you can do that. It's built into MQTT protocol itself. So we can actually provide different QoS levels.
Oh, okay.
I guess there are 3 levels. Level 0 is like fire and forget. Level 1 is that you are going to acknowledge that I sent you a message.
Okay.
Level 2 is, as far as I remember, that I'm going to acknowledge that you acknowledge. So it's like a 4-way handshake. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing. Is it
Built in the
difficult
protocol.
to configure that?
No. So with Spring Integration, there's just a setter for a specific topic, like set QoS. and
Oh,
that's
I
it.
like setters, so that's good. So another thing, since these are different types of metrics, so maybe we could have multiple channels, maybe somehow, you know, like different topics, different channels to actually maybe scale out some applications that are going to, you know, poll for certain messages, or maybe
Alright.
inside a single application
Alright.
have different channels. So maybe Spring Cloud Stream can support multiple channels.
You're saying that you want to treat them differently,
Yeah.
like different scaling reasons, etc.,
Or
etc.
different logic, because otherwise we'd have a single method and some sort of an if, like if it's a periodic one, do this, if it's a non-periodic one, do that. So maybe we can handle it in a different way.
Yes, you can do that. Actually, you are not limited to one input channel. You can have several of those
Okay.
with Spring Cloud Stream. But what you need to do is you have to predefine the channels you are going to talk to. All
Is it
right?
difficult?
It's not difficult. It goes like this. You have to provide an interface, how we are going to call those channels. Let's say car channels, make sense?
That's a good name.
Cool. And you will have, in this case, how many channels you said?
So we're going to listen for, let's say, information about braking and the temperature, right? So we're going to have two input channels, I guess.
2 input channels. One of them will be called temperature,
Yeah,
right?
the other
It's
braking.
going to be input channel, subscribable channel, temperature, right? Is there any
Yes.
typo? I guess it's fine. And the other one was what?
Braking.
Cool. Braking. So we have the channels defined, right?
Correct.
So we have to enable channels, in this case, to those 2 input channels.
Okay.
That's the difference, right? Instead of sync, I'm passing
The
car
car
channels.
right? Okay, let's do it.
All right? So what we need to do more, I'm going to do copy-paste. I guess you are familiar with this
Oh,
technique.
this is my favorite technique, absolutely.
All right.
Shouldn't you go to Stack Overflow first?
This was easy, so
Okay,
I'm just
okay.
going to do copy-paste. So stream listener from the first channel, which was called temperature, right?
Okay.
How do you want to handle this?
Just print out the temperature, maybe?
Makes sense. Temp is now temp, I
Okay.
guess so. What is the other one?
Let's say we have a deceleration value.
Deceleration.
Yeah, so
Should be float or integer?
Oh, like with money, int.
All right, so it's int. Braking. Or deceleration, maybe.
Yeah, deceleration.
So deceleration is now deceleration. There's typo, but who cares, right? So if I just run it right now, would it work, or do you need to do something more?
Most
What do
likely
you
we have
think?
to do some sort of a configuration to tell the binder how to behave.
Yes, because you have 2 input channels, right? One is for temperature, the other one is for braking. So how RabbitMQ works in this case, it has one destination for MQTT messages. amq.topic. And then, thanks to the binding routing key, the messages are going to be routed accordingly.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
So what we need to do, remember from the previous example?
No.
All right. You are a fast learner, Marcin.
I am.
Binding routing key is going to be, this time, temperature, right?
Yes.
Going to copy paste, it's going to be quicker. And the other one is, I guess, breaking.
Okay.
Binding routing key. There is no typo. This time it's important. So
it wasn't important the last time?
yes.
I see.
If I now run it and we do some push from Mqtt to temperature topic and then to breaking topic, we should see different loggers involved.
Absolutely.
Right? Let's do that. Any questions? While it's putting.
Absolutely not. Everything is clear.
Nice.
As the sky today.
Oof, all right.
Oh, that was a joke.
Yeah, it's
really
so
bad
funny.
one.
Do you want to explain this joke?
No.
So what's the message when it comes to temperature?
So let's say it's 30 degrees Celsius.
All right. Doesn't look like. This one is going to be sent to temperature, right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Let's do it. I'll send a couple of times, yeah.
Why not? The other one was braking.
Yes.
And what's the braking? The
30 is
acceleration.
going to be fast, yeah.
Braking. As you can see, it's printed out.
Okay.
So it was super easy to have multi-channel support in one Spring Cloud Stream application, right? So now you can just treat the messages accordingly. I guess in your production it's gonna be something different than system.out and println, right?
I don't think so. Anyways, let's go back to the slides because I want to show you the bigger picture of things, you know?
There is a bigger picture.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm an enterprise architect. There's always a bigger picture.
Go ahead.
So, we have those cars, you know? Still, they're the cars. And they emit metrics. So we have a lot of different teams doing all sorts of different things in the company. Like, is it a very concrete example of what we're doing in the company?
Yes.
So the things are, for example, anomaly detection. So there is an application somewhere that gathers metrics from different places, processes them via different algorithms, you know, machine learning, all the buzzwords that are out there.
And it's Spring Boot based, I can see, right?
Yeah. We have, for example, driver score. So there is some sort of a state. We get metrics, we retrieve the state, we match it somehow, and we give a score to the driver. Diagnostics, if everything is correct with the car. Again, different sources of data. And the trip as well, maybe some points of interest depending on your location, etc. Right? So we are doing an analysis of different sorts of data, and basing on that, we're having some conclusions, right?
So we'll be joining different stream of information from the car to get different conclusions, and then what's the result?
So, because until now, we're just getting the data, right? Getting the messages. What we would like to do right now is to send a client notification, like send a message to the car, to the let's say driver's app, something like this. We'd like to notify someone about let's say the analysis that we have done. Is it possible?
In other words, you want to populate an output channel, like maybe for analytics or just your car back.
Exactly.
Get to know something.
Is it difficult to be done? Is
to
it
push
possible?
information from Spring Cloud Stream. Yes, it's super easy. You want to see that?
Sure.
Let's try. So let's say we are going to build this super cool anomaly detection algorithm, right?
Let's just say that it's an anomaly detector.
All right. That's a good starter. So I think we are going to copy paste something, as you all know. Here. So in this time, you are going to talk to how many channels?
So we are polling for messages, and we're going to send out a message. So we have an input and output channel, I guess, right?
That makes sense. The input channel is for what?
That's going to be for braking, I guess.
Okay, because anomaly detection works like this. We are taking a look at the braking, and then what?
For example, so we could do some, sophisticated logic there, but let's start. You have to start with a POC. So let's do an if statement.
All right.
Right.
And the output channel is going to be what? We're going to talk to, what's the name of this channel?
Anomalies, right? If there's an anomaly, let's send it out to anomalies.
Okay, and this time it's not a subscribable channel, it's a message channel. That's how Spring Cloud Stream works. Message channel, we're going to call it anomalies, right? Without P. Good?
Okay.
We have to enable binding to car channels, as we used to do in the previous examples. Enable binding, car channels, class, right? Something more? I mean, the
logic, right? So here we would have this complex logic, going to the database, doing AI,
AI, okay.
whatever, all the acronyms you can put
All
here.
right.
Like consumer-driven contracts maybe here.
CDC, all right. Something more?
No, that's it. CDC is good enough.
All right. So, but for this demo, what is the actual machine learning algorithm?
So it's a very stupid machine. So if the acceleration is greater than 30, for example, let's
Then what?
do something. Like send out a message, I guess, right?
Let's log it out, maybe.
Oh, of
First.
course, logging is important.
What? Right?
Yes.
What else?
And now send a message.
Ah, so you want to send the message to this channel somehow.
Yes, do
So
it.
we need to inject this car channels into here, like private, final, car channels,
Via the constructor.
of course.
Okay.
And then you are able to do this, car channels dot anomalies, send new message.
That's it?
What do you want to send? Like, what? Or what?
What is good?
So if I do that,
We like descriptive messages in our company, so this is good.
so this is what the driver is going to see, right?
Exactly.
That's good enough. If you want that, let's
For
proceed.
sure, it sounds like an anomaly, so that's exactly what the driver should get.
All right, let's do this kind of anomaly detection. If I run this application right now, what
Wait,
else?
I guess configuration?
Yeah, configuration makes sense. You are a fast learner, man. Thank you so much. So configuration is here. What do we need to pass? So in the previous example, we passed binding routing key for the input channel. The same we have to do in here, right? So binding routing key is breaking, right?
Yeah.
You are streaming information from the events related to braking patterns of your car, and we have to pass something to the producer side to actually route the message accordingly.
This is the first time we're sending out a message, right?
Yes, it works like this: routing key expression is gonna be anomalies or dot anomalies, right?
Correct.
And thanks to this setup, each time you are going to talk to your output channel, it's going to be populated with this routing key expression, and probably we can hear this information somewhere.
Oh yeah, so this is interesting what you just said, because we had the CLI to send out a message, so we simulated a car, but now we would have to have some sort of a process that will fetch the message, right? Right?
So you are looking for an equivalent of Mqtt publish for subscription.
Yeah.
So it's called Mqtt subscription, by the way.
That's a good name.
Yeah. So let's say we are streaming information, we are subscribing to a specific channel, which will be a topic, which will be named
Anomalies.
Anomalies, right? And the local host is still there, the port is default,
Okay.
the username was user, right? And the password was pass, and the topic is
Why
gonna
are you passing our production credentials here, like to everybody?
It's not production, it's my local machine, man.
But we have the same ones on production.
All right, I didn't know that.
Now you do, like everybody.
What's the name of the topic?
Anomalies.
Anomalies, right?
Yeah.
So if I type enter right now, what shall we do?
So this is the process is waiting for a message to appear here, right?
Yeah, it's subscribed.
Okay. So I guess we need to send the message with the temperature, right?
Or with the breaking.
So the breaking, sorry.
So we need to create an anomaly, in other words.
Yeah.
What's the anomaly?
Over 30?
Over 30. So I'm going to push something with 29, or that should work or not?
We shouldn't get any messages, right? So send a couple of those.
Why not?
Can you take out the subscription?
Here it goes.
Okay.
Nothing there.
So now theoretically, if we didn't mess anything up, which is impossible during live coding, obviously.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
We should get a message over there, right? Send a couple of more, like.
You want two of them?
Okay, so that's an explicit message.
Right.
Good. So
let's take a look at the application logs. As you can see, the anomaly is detected clearly.
Good.
Right.
That's absolutely great. So we managed. So let's recap. We've managed to use Spring integration as an implementation of an enterprise integration pattern to pull the messages. We could also most likely leverage it to send out messages, right?
Yes.
We've managed to use Spring Cloud Stream to stream data and write listeners and senders of messages in a very fast way.
Correct.
Now, we have those teams, right? Let's say the anomaly detector uses different sorts of data, sources of data to do the analysis. Let us assume now that a couple of new sources are required, right? So they would have to write some code, etc., to redeploy it. It can be done, right? But I'm an enterprise architect. I need tools that are free, have a UI, and a DSL. So I would like
DSL for enterprise architecting.
Of course, always. or graphs. So what I would like to achieve is that the teams can leverage some sort of a DSL or graphs to pipe the data, zip them, do whatever they need, filter out, without actually writing a lot of code.
So you're saying that...
Oh, you're a great consultant, so you're going to just let's say again what I just said in your own words.
That's what we do.
And you're going to be paid for that.
You're saying you want those components to be reusable and composable and create some stream of information.
Oh, you said it better than I did. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to achieve.
Yes. Have you heard about Spring Cloud Data Flow?
If I did,
Doesn't ring a bell.
I wouldn't ask you about this, so I didn't.
You didn't. Okay. So have you heard about Spring XD maybe?
Oh, that I heard. Yes.
Can you describe it?
So that was an application that allowed you to, spawn things, processors, and sources like inside the same process, right? So it wasn't really cloud native.
Right. What was the problem with that? Maybe scaling or something like this?
Yeah, it wasn't cloud native because it was inside the process, so it was difficult to scale. So it had its own problems. Was it rewritten to like something cloud native?
Yes, you can use actually Spring Cloud Data Flow, which solves this problem. Like it's actually, you can scale those applications, compose them, to compose those sinks, sources, processors that are created by your balance teams and push to some repositories.
Wait. So you're saying that right now those sinks, sources, and processors are separate Spring Boot applications?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And you can reuse them to compose and govern streams of information.
Okay.
Right? So how do you package your application, by the way? Applications, to be honest.
Some of them are sent via emails. Some of them are jars.
All right. What else?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, so I'm sad to report that Spring Cloud Data Flow doesn't support emailing, but it supports jars and Docker images and Maven coordinates, so we can actually point to different repositories for applications, for Spring Boot applications, right?
Okay.
And then what it does is going to create a stream of information connecting all of the sinks, sources, and processors using Spring Cloud Stream. So the abstraction you have seen like 20 minutes ago.
So you're saying that it's actually, you're able to describe a flow of data. That's why it's called data flow.
Yes. It's event-driven streaming app.
Great.
Using Spring Cloud Stream, but there are also like short-lived applications. Like let's say like every now and then you want to do some batching, right? Send some information to your card that there's some detection of diagnostics coming or something like this, right?
Great.
So we can then use Spring Cloud Task to do so.
Awesome.
Where do you actually deploy your applications? What do you use?
Laptops. Yeah, we have a cloud.
Which one?
We have actually both. We have Kubernetes and Cloud Foundry.
Great. So actually, when you create those flows, right, these are not deployed yet. And then Spring Cloud Flow is agnostic to the target runtime. So we can actually deploy it to my local machine, which we are going to do soon. Or you can just deploy it to Kubernetes or Cloud Foundry.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Great.
So to recap, that's how the architecture of Spring Cloud Data Flow may look like. So we have a data flow server, which is responsible for recognizing what is the stream that we are passing via DSL, or maybe via UI, or maybe via some sort of shell, right?
Okay.
And it has a skipper server. Have you heard about skipper server?
No.
So it's like an assistant that performs rolling upgrades and deployment of your applications that are part of your streams.
Okay. Is it free?
It's free.
Okay.
It has an UI as well.
Let's do it.
Right? So then what Skipper does is going to deploy all of the applications and govern the whole stream on your target runtime, like local machine, Kubernetes CF, right?
Okay.
So just by accident, Spring Cloud Data Flow server and Skipper is running on my machine right now.
What a surprise.
So do you want to see the UI?
Of course I want to see it. The UI is the most important thing.
Should be somewhere in here.
Is it nice?
You are going to tell me this is how it looks like.
It's nice.
It's nice.
We can use it.
You can use it, great. So you have to actually teach Dataflow that there are certain apps that your balance team pushed somewhere, right?
Okay.
Like jars, Maven, or maybe
so those
Docker
from
images.
which I can compose the flow.
Yes.
Okay.
So we can go in here, and actually I did that before our presentation because I knew you would ask about that. So these are the apps that you can actually push. As you can see, some of them are from my local machine.
Okay.
This one, file, right?
So this is this anomaly detector.
Yeah, it's already there. There are some also done by Spring, but by Spring team. A couple of processors, sinks from files, from FTP, from Gemfire, etc., etc.
Okay.
So we can do whatever you want in here, right? And actually, how to push those applications? You can just add an application in here. You can do bulk import. You can register one. That's when it comes to, that's it when it comes to UI. You can do more or less the same via shell in here. Like you can register an app, an anomaly detector, you pass in where the application is, what's the type of the application, is it sync, is it source, maybe it's a processor, maybe it's a short-lived task.
Okay.
So this is how it works, right? So once they are registered, you are almost ready to create a stream. What kind of stream do you want to create?
Let's say that a message comes in from HTTP, like somebody sends a post.
All right, let's
request.
try HTTP. Oh yeah, there is.
This is nice. Can you drag and drop the next one?
What's the next one?
So we would put, for example, this anomaly detector.
Anomaly detector, okay. So we can actually do this and this, you know, we can compose that, right?
Okay, that's cool. But actually, the anomaly detector is actually a filter, right? So maybe
yeah. So we can
use a filter.
We can use a component from Spring repo. It was called filter. Why not?
Okay.
I'm going to change that. So actually, you can just drag and drop. You can pass it via DSL. You can use the shell that you have seen as well.
Great.
Right?
So
what's the sync of the information?
System out println. Logger. Sorry, log.
All right. So I'm going to pass the log.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
So this is how to create the stream. It's not deployed yet. What's the name of the stream? Anomaly detector, I guess.
Yeah.
Detector. Good. Create the stream. It's created, but it's not deployed. As you can see, it says it's undeployed.
Okay.
Right? So now what we have to do is we have to deploy it to my local machine. Right?
Don't we have to, let's say, configure it in some way?
Yes. If you click this, it's going to ask you to pass some sort of properties. For instance, we have three applications, right? Source, processor, and sync. Let's configure the source. What's the number of the port?
I don't know, 6543.
This is better, I guess.
Oh, because you have all the scripts prepared for 8082, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. How about filtering? What do you want to filter out? Like, what's the anomaly?
Now I'm afraid to ask even, you know, because if you have everything hard-coded.
I'll pass like this.
Okay, payload, that's what I wanted to suggest. Payload different than 30.
That's an anomaly.
Of course.
All right, let's do that. So you can configure those applications. They are still not deployed. If I click deploy right now.
So you're deploying them to your local machine.
Yes, and now we can go to the runtime and see that there are three applications almost deployed on my local machine. So three separate Spring Boot applications running.
That's great.
All of them, they create a stream of information that's responsible for anomaly detection.
So are you saying that you don't even have to create a controller of anything? Because, for example, with the HTTP app, it's going to have already the controller there.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It works out of the box. So they are deployed, right?
Okay.
So if I do post to HTTP 8082 right now, with the number of 30 or 31, we should see, or we shouldn't see something in the logs of the sync app.
So if we send 30, we're not going to see anything.
All right.
If we're going to send anything else, we're going to see something.
I hope it's prepared. Yes. So if we do HTTP post to my local host 8082.29, right?
Okay, but where is the?
Let's wait for it.
Where are the logs?
Let's do the second one as well. 31.
Okay.
Right, and 30.
So we assume that we're going to see two entries in the logs.
Yeah,
29 and
that's
30.
my understanding. So let's check where are the logs. Well, if you just go in here to the sync application, you can see that there is standard output in here, right?
Okay.
So if I go there right now, not here, but maybe here, tail, you see two log statements, right?
That's great. So
that's your anomaly detection. Works like a charm.
So it even worked, much to my surprise.
Yeah. So it comes with audit log as well. You can create short-lived tasks. There is a rolling upgrades possibilities, etc., etc. So it's like a really rich tool, I would say.
Okay, that's awesome. So the last question is, because it's running on your laptop, is there an option to actually have it running in the cloud?
Yes. So I have my PWApps account. You can have yours as well.
There are web services, right?
Yes. So the internet connection is kind of slow. Let's see if I can get logged in. Any questions?
No.
Oh yeah. So I have my domain in here, and I have a couple of services. So if you go to Marketplace, it's for free, by the way, until some point, of course. You can go to Marketplace and see that there is data flow server. So this is what we are looking for, right? There is data source, data store for Spring Cloud Data Flow because it's stateful.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? And there is the messaging infrastructure to connect those applications.
Awesome.
Like Rabi or Kafka.
Okay.
Right? So I picked all of them previously, as my services. You can see, right?
Okay.
DB, messaging, and the data flow itself, right?
Okay.
So if I click in here, I can actually manage my applications in the cloud. And I can do, as we have seen on my local machine, I can push coordinates to my applications, and then I can create streams, etc., etc. I can govern them, I can deploy, I can upgrade, I can check the audit logs.
Okay. So maybe one day it's going to start. Oh,
Yeah.
it did.
It started, so
So it's exactly the same thing you had running on your local machine, but you have it in the cloud. So as a
Yes.
user experience, nothing really changes.
nothing really changed except for the fact that this time data flow, or to be more precise, the skipper server is going to perform deployment to my cloud account, right?
Okay.
Not to my local machine.
That's
Make
awesome.
sense? So I can actually push the same application, the anomaly detector there,
Okay.
right? Any more questions about this?
I have no more questions.
You have no more questions. Do you want to see like a maybe stream?
Show it to me.
So it's in the cloud. What do you want to do? Like,
This is the same thing.
yeah, you can do like time-based something and then log it out, right?
But that's a very good stream.
Great stream.
Absolutely.
You want to filter that like this. If I click create stream, the same happens, right? As we used to do. And if I deploy, it's going to deploy to my PCF account, right? I need to pass some filtering logic. I need to pass maybe filtering logic is enough in this case. It's going to be payload different than 30, right?
Okay.
Let's try it. Deploy the stream. Yeah. And it's going to deploy 3 Spring Boot applications to my PCF account, right? What have you learned so far?
I learned that we pay you too much. That's for sure. I managed to learn that Spring integration is an implementation of enterprise integration patterns, and it allows us to use like to connect to the Mqtt Broker.
It's one of the adapters, of
Yeah.
course.
I've learned that Spring Cloud Stream is a nice let's say abstraction. We can say Spring integration on steroids to pull and push messages to the broker. I managed to learn that.
Wait. Is it broker agnostic or what?
Yeah, it's broker agnostic.
How does it work?
So depending on what you have on a class path, it can connect to different brokers, right?
All right.
Also, if I can guess, if you have multiple brokers on the class path, you can configure which channel would use which broker.
That's correct. And Spring Cloud Stream uses what underneath?
Spring integration.
Correct.
And I've learned that we can use Spring Cloud Dataflow to govern, let's say, streams of flows of data.
And what are the 2 most important kinds of those flows?
So we have like 3, I guess, sinks, sources, and processors, right?
But they are like short-lived and
Oh
long-lived.
yeah, we have the short-lived, and like Spring Cloud task will be executed underneath for those short-lived tasks, and we have the long-living ones, and we can deploy to let's say various locations like local machine or a platform like Kubernetes or Cloud Foundry.
And it supports different packaging when it comes to application.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What kind?
So jars, Maven coordinates, files, or Docker images, I guess, right?
Do I have to add that it doesn't matter if you use Kafka or RabbitMQ to connect those sinks, sources, and processors?
Since you have just said it, I don't think you have to add it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then, what have you learned at the very end? That you
What
can
did I
use
learn?
Spring Data Flow where?
I said it. You can use it in the cloud, for
You said
example.
that? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
you're not
I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
So, do you have any more questions?
I don't, but maybe
I will send you my invoice, like via email, as the.
don't call us, we'll call you. So, do you have any questions then? Any questions? Who thinks it makes any sense? Okay, 5 people.
6.
Okay.
That was the 6th one.
Okay. Who doesn't care at all? Like 0. Okay, there are 2 people. Good. Any questions? So, if
Who would like to see the code? Like, if you're interested, it's there. All of the demos that we have done today, it's there.
So if any questions, you can find us on Twitter, Jakub, Pilimon, and Grzejszczak. And if you're shy and don't want to ask the question right now, you can come to us and ask the questions just in a couple of seconds. So thank you very much.
Thank you.